From the rugged shore and woodlands of the north, its history of copper mines and iron ore, the Great Lakes fisheries. To the farmlands of the southern counties we'll look around again, at all that waits the sportsman in the state of Michigan. And sometimes when the moon brings out the diamonds in the snow, and the stillness of the forest lies encased in Arctic cold, the wind might whisper through the trees, listen if you can, it tells you of the beauty in this state of Michigan.
Hi there, come on in. You know, we're on the brink of firearm deer season, only 2 weeks away. How are you going to hunt? Are you going to build a blind and sit there all day? Are you going to get out and move? Well, we have an expert in still hunting who's going to give us some step-by-step techniques on sneaking through the swamps. Interesting way to hunt, and effective. We're also going to have an award-winning recipe and a lot more, so stay tuned. I'm Fred Trost. It's Thursday night, time for Michigan Outdoors. There are 4 basic ways to hunt white-tailed deer. Hunting from a blind or a post where the hunter is hidden is the easiest and most common method. Stalking a deer once it's seen, that's the most difficult. Driving deer past hunters who are stationary is a late-season technique, but the combination of methods is called still hunting, moving through the woods or a swamp slowly, stopping often, and watching for deer. Bob Bolton from Midland, Michigan, has taken 15 of 22 bucks this way, as he did on this opening morning after a snowfall. His technique is classic still hunting.
Describe to me, if you were teaching me how to still hunt like you do, how would I make my way through this stuff?
Well, just basically try to pick an area that you're going to make the least amount of noise in. You don't want to be breaking twigs or anything like that. I don't know if there's any particular avenue you're supposed to take out there. Just get out in the thick stuff and try to move as slowly and carefully as you can.
Do you, for example, step over things, or will you walk around?
Well, if it's more than about a foot high, generally I'll walk around if I can. Anything to be silent. Use your ears a lot, use your eyes. On a morning like this morning, you couldn't hear all that good. You could hear, I think out of the 7 deer, actually, I think I saw them all before I heard them. And I think all of them were within 40 yards before I got a look at them.
Why do you wear wool pants, wool shirt? Is this what you wear when you're hunting?
Yes.
This
Yes.
is your outer clothing?
Yes.
Why?
It's quiet.
Okay, so this doesn't make noise when you rub against...
Right.
Okay, underneath this you have a vest, you have a flannel shirt, you have at least 2 more long underwear under there.
T-shirt and sweatshirt, insulated underwear. I'm moving real slow, so I'm not gonna get overheated, right? And
okay, now what about your shoes? Let me see these boots here. These are still hunter's boots.
I don't know about that. They're leather, insulated, waterproof boots. They're light, so they're comfortable to walk in.
Okay, how tight do you lace? No, you don't lace them very tight at all.
They're not terribly tight, no. They're relatively new. Maybe they get broke in a little better.
Well, let's see could you lift up the sole of them here so we can see what... Okay, well, it's is this a Vibram sole? How do you carry your rifle when you're still hunting? Do you put it on a sling over your shoulder? Do you have it ready to shoot?
No, I have it ready to shoot. I'll carry it like this. Sometimes you get into situations where you will, all of a sudden a deer will appear 20, 25 yards away from you, and it's not uncommon that you'll kind of see each other at the same time, and the deer will be looking at you about the same time you're looking at it, and you want to be in a position to get your gun to your shoulder and shoot real quickly if you have to.
Well, what's the biggest fault that hunters commit when they're still hunting?
I think basically just not paying attention. Not having themselves convinced that at any given second a deer might just appear in front of them. I think they really think there is a certain psychology to it, that you hunt better when you think you're going to see deer, and you pay attention better, and if you're in cover like this, and you're going to see them.
When you pussyfoot through this thick stuff, covering 100 yards in an hour, will you often jump them up from bedding, or are they moving, or what?
Occasionally you'll walk up on one, and jump it up. Most of the deer you're going to see, though, will be moving. generally kind of like you are. Generally, they're just kind of sneaking along quietly also. So it's real important to pay very close attention, listen for any little noise, any twigs to snap, rustling, and I'm using my ears as much as my eyes every time that I stop.
Okay, now if we're still hunting through here, how many steps are we going to take?
Well, I think probably right here I might move around this little obstruction and get to this point. And
Well, I can see you're getting in the mood already. You're moving. You're moving
yeah.
like a snake. Okay.
I would then stand here for,
And scan the whole woods.
yes,
For how long?
probably at least 30 seconds.
Okay.
Again, remember to look behind you too, because
They do come behind you.
well, sure, yeah, they can move into you from any direction, depending on the wind. If you've got a good stiff wind, you're not going to have too many of them move directly behind you, but yeah, you can see them in any position.
Now, from here, where are you going to go? You could go into the swamp. You could go along the edge. Which way do you pick?
I would probably get out into it.
Okay, so we're going to get out into it. Which way would you try it? Let's see how quiet you can be. This is the type of thing that would drive people crazy to
Well,
walk this slow. You know,
maybe
it would
what I have to do, Fred, is just get myself kind of psyched up into it and have myself convinced that lurking behind every tree out there is a great big buck, and it's incredible how fast the time will pass. I look at my watch sometimes and I think I've been doing it for half an hour, and 3 hours will have gone by.
Do you see more deer, do you feel, than people who sit or not?
I think I do, yeah, for the most part.
But it drives you buggy to sit?
No, I'll sit depending on conditions and depending on how good I think a spot looks. I'll sit occasionally, but generally I'll do it in combination with still hunting.
So your 22nd deer in all these years of hunting, and you want me to help you drag it out?
Sounds good to me.
All the way up this hill.
Bob Bolton is a good example for still hunters, but safety is important when you sneak through the woods. Bob wears the minimum amount of blaze orange required in Michigan, a blaze orange hat, but in some states a full orange vest is required. Be careful, be alert, and you might become one of those lucky hunters who puts venison in the freezer by still hunting.
Here's a big catfish, a 16.5-pounder, taken in Muskegon Lake by Faith Clark of Grand Rapids fishing a bomber. This is a great time of year to catch Menominee, and Joe Fletcher of Oscoda caught this one. It weighed 1.5 pounds right at the mouth of the Osable River using salmon eggs. Here's Scott LeClaire of Grand Rapids with this 7-pound, 3-ounce largemouth bass he took out of Big Star Lake in Lake County using an artificial crawler. Ken LaForme of Pontiac did some fancy turkey shooting when he took this 18-pound gobbler in Oscoda County. It had a 9.5-inch beard. And there's a lot of big bruiser bucks in the thumb, like this one Bob Arnott of Bad Axe took from Huron County. It had 11 points and weighed over 200 pounds. Sharon Kirkpatrick had her hands full at 3 a.m. in the middle of the night in Muskegon Lake, fishing a Rapala when she caught this 9.5-pound, 29.5-inch walleye. Well, for catching this jumbo walleye, and incidentally catching it on her husband's birthday, let's make Sharon Kirkpatrick of Dearborn our Michigan Outdoors Trophy Angler of the Week. Detroit Free Press outdoor editor Tom Opry hit the nail right on the head a week ago when he wrote about the upcoming presidential elections. He characterized Bush as the pro-gun and hunting candidate and Dukakis as the clear environmentalist candidate. Now, making the decision on who to cast your vote for in most cases is tough enough to do, and I appreciate Opry's views on boiling it down. I won't suggest or endorse any candidate on Michigan Outdoors, but I will ask you to do two things. One is, when you see a candidate for any office, ask he or she how they feel about hunting and gun control. Make them understand that you're concerned about those issues. Now, if you don't meet them personally, call them up. Many of them have their numbers published in the phone book. And most important of all, be sure to vote. It's a darn small price to pay to live in a democracy, and in the final analysis, it's the only direct method of sending a sportsman's message to the politicians.
Rick Bruning from Rogers City, Michigan asks, does Bob Garner wear a toupee? If so, do deer smell it when he's out hunting? Well, Rick, Bob doesn't wear a toupee, but he does wear a fake beard. Most people can't tell, though. But even if he wore a toupee, it wouldn't make any difference to a deer. The reason deer put their noses to the wind is to try to smell the particular amino acid fragrance that is unique to meat-eating animals. Any other odors might make deer cautious or curious, like the smell of a toupee, but it's these amino acid smells of predatory creatures that make them afraid. So go ahead, Rick, wear a toupee. The deer won't care. And if you find a really good rug at a really cheap price, let me know. I might be interested. Michigan's Iron County has lots of deer, big bucks too, and these deer yard up in the winter after the hunting season. Earl Carey from Hardwood is a woodcutter who spends a lot of time in the woods year-round. He sees deer every day. He's hunted in this area since 1938, and he has a perspective on still hunting a little different than Bob Bolton, who we talked to earlier in the show. Earl moves faster and tries to surprise the deer when he walks over the ridges.
You've seen a lot of deer hunters. You've seen a lot of mistakes that they make. What's the biggest mistake?
They're too fidgety. They jump around too much. Even when they're posting, they're moving too much. When I deer post, I put my head against a tree, pull my visor down over my hat, over my head, and if you do move, you move slow. You move a natural way. And the same thing when people are walking, they don't move regularly. They don't move like an animal. I mean, you have to move. You have to move like an animal.
And how would that be?
Well, move rather slowly, and don't make even if you're moving, don't suddenly stop or don't make any jerky motions.
Okay, well, just a second. Just give me a little demonstration here. Walk about 4 or 5 steps and show me how you'd move if you were deer hunting.
Well, if I was moving a deer hunt, I just walk natural. Just walk natural. Just so it's not irregular. If you try to sneak. If you try to sneak, the animals know there's something wrong.
Okay, show me a bad sneak. A typical deer hunter bad sneak.
Like that. I've seen time and time people do that, and a deer's watching them every second. They just barely like this. Well, the deer right away knows something wrong. You're better off to walk.
Just walk over like this. If you want to stand by this tree, just walk over here.
Normal, but be ready. Walk normal, but be ready.
Huh.
But don't suddenly stop if you see a deer, because stopping is a sudden motion, and a deer will charge off right away.
So if you see a deer while you're walking, what do? Get your gun ready while you're walking?
I'm always ready. You always keep your gun ready. You always keep 2 hands on the gun. Never walk around. I see so many people with a gun on their shoulder, a gun under their arm, their rifle under their arm. You don't do that. You have to have both hands on the gun. If you're after a large deer, a large buck, you keep your 2 hands on the gun all the time, so that you can. And another thing with them, most people, they pick up their gun once a year. Mm-hmm. They might shoot it at a target. They're not used to a gun. They have to know, they have to look at the gun to know if the safety's off. They have to look at the gun to know how to load it or everything else. They're just not, it's got to be part of you. The rifle has to be part of you.
So become more familiar with it, shoot it more often.
Right. Yeah,
now, what about technique, though? You talk about moving, you talk about standing or posting, as you call it up here in the UP, standing at a blind or by a tree. Which technique do you prefer?
Well, I like to still hunt. I like to move around. I don't do much posting. But I know the area so good that I like to come over hills and ridges and come on to intersections of good deer trails. And I know the more familiar you are with the area, the better chance you have.
So if you're going to still hunt, I imagine you'd say don't explore while you're still hunting. No. I mean, you should know the area you're still hunting.
Know where you're going before you even start.
Excellent advice from an excellent hunter. There's no doubt that Earl Carey has taken more deer in his lifetime of hunting than many hunters ever see. But comparing his faster walking technique with Bob Bolton's slow sneak, they agree on most points. The difference is that Earl hunts areas that aren't quite as thick. He walks faster and heads towards crossings and trails. Bob heads towards the thickest swamps, sneaks slowly, and waits for deer that are moving through in a more random pattern. Wear hunter orange and try these methods. See if they suit your hunting style. Don Lumen from Zeeland had a bizarre experience stalking a buck in Michigan's Upper Peninsula. A reminder that of all the dangers you find in the woods, sometimes the biggest danger can be that buck that you're hunting. Gogebic County up on the western end of the Upper Peninsula, a 235-pounder, 10-pointer. What's the story behind this? Were you stalking it?
Yeah, I got him stalking. He wasn't the one I was after. I shot an 8-point opening morning that was on that I was hunting on a scrape line. And then the second morning, I was walking down an old trail and I saw him. And I shot him and he ran me down.
He ran you down?
Yeah, he missed me first time. The second time he ran right over me.
Oh, what do you mean? He attacked you?
He put me right on the ground. And then I shot him again. It's the first time that ever happened.
Well, I guess it probably doesn't happen too many times to anybody. Well, what's that? So the deer just charged you
Yeah, he put me right on the ground.
with his antlers?
Well, he missed me. I went down. He ran right over the top of me.
What were you thinking at the time?
It happened so fast you really don't think about much. Just get out of the way.
So he turned around and then pinned you, did you say?
No, after he went over the top of me, I got up on one knee and shot him again, and he went down. And that was it.
Bet your heart was thumping then.
Well, it happened so fast you don't really get a chance to think about a whole lot.
It could have been bad, tines like this.
Yeah, you think about that afterwards, but you don't think about it when it's happening.
Boy, I guess. Man attacked by deer. Donald Lumen, Gogebic County, close call. But you got the buck and the venison in the freezer. Way to go.
In big game hunting, what do the terms royal, imperial, and monarch refer to? The size of antlers on a bull elk. Royal is 6 antler tines on each main beam, imperial is 7 points, and monarch is a bull with 8 points on each side.
Fish and Cheese Puffs by Bobby Lyons from Prudenville was a winner in our Fish and Wild Game Cooking Contest, Kathy Beitler. It happens to be, I think, my favorite appetizer.
Oh, it's an excellent appetizer. It's got quite a few ingredients in it, but they all go together very well. You've got, of course, your fish, and this is perch, and you could use leftover fish for this.
It's cooked.
It's cooked first, and then you just flake it very, very fine. Walleye would be perfect for it.
Such a delicate flavor to that fish.
Absolutely. And you're going to go ahead and add a whole package of cheese. You could grate it yourself if you want to, and a whole stick of butter. And everybody kind of wonders about that, but it's basically to hold everything together.
Quite rich recipe.
It is. And then a little bit of mayonnaise, of course, for the very same reason, to hold it together and give it a little bit different taste. And garlic powder rather than salt.
Whoa, people are going to think that the taste of the fish is going to be gone.
Oh, no way. And then you go ahead and mix that very, very well and put it on your English muffins. And then just go ahead and cut those into quarters or into half if you want a little bit bigger portions.
Sure doesn't look like much there, does it?
No, it doesn't. Not once they're cut. And then sprinkle it with paprika and then just pop them in the oven until the cheese melts.
Well, I happen to know it's great, but will Bob Garner be able to taste the delicate perch through all these ingredients?
Well, I can taste the perch in here. This isn't a recipe though that is designed to enhance the flavor of the perch. This is almost a frivolous, fun recipe that you really can enjoy the ingredients in it with the perch and eat it with the hot sauce. It's good stuff.
The hot sauce.
I
love the hot
Why don't you have a little appetizer with that hot sauce?
This is festive food.
It
I
is.
mean, it looks good, it tastes good. It's real festive food.
Tastes like crab to me.
It does?
With the ingredients.
It's hard to think back on the recipe contest, but right now it seems like this should have been first place in the appetizer category. Oh, man, is this good.
It's first place right now.
What's this, Bob? What do you think of that?
Let's not split them. I'll flip you for the rest of me.
How would you like a copy of each of the award-winning fish and game recipes we feature during November and December? Well, they're in the Outdoor Digest magazine, all 9 of them. By the way, number 366, that's the show that we're doing tonight, our 8th year on public broadcasting here on PBS. We love it and looking forward, hopefully, to at least 8 more with your help and your support.
And if anything, I hope we have gotten the point across to you that you should get outdoors this weekend. It's a great place to be. See you next week.
Next week on Michigan Outdoors, we're going to have up-to-the-minute forecasts from all corners of the state for our 1988 deer season. How does the herd look in the UP, in the northern lower, and the southern part of the state? Our DNR biologists are going to answer that question. We also have a recipe, an award-winning recipe that's great for deer camp on Michigan salmon chowder, a winner in our fish and wild game cooking contest. Outdoor news and a lot more, so be sure to tune in next week right here on PBS.